Long ago, in the lush lands nestled between winding rivers and thick forests of what is now Nigeria and Cameroon, a remarkable people began to change their world. These early Bantu communities lived simply, hunting, gathering, and tending small gardens. But beneath this peaceful surface, a spark of innovation was kindling. They discovered the secret of iron, how to forge it from the earth's stubborn rock, transforming their tools from crude stone to gleaming metal. With iron hoes, they could till the land faster, grow more food, and support growing families. Their newfound farming skills turned wilderness into fertile fields, allowing their population to swell. But it was not just technology that set them apart. Their society blossomed with new ideas, shared rituals, growing trade between villages, and a sense of unity rooted in common language and culture. The Bantu people were no longer isolated tribes but a rising power with ambitions quietly gathering strength. In these quiet beginnings, a great force was born, one that would soon push beyond their homeland, sparking a wave of migration that would reshape Africa's destiny. Yet, this dawn was fragile, balanced between survival and the unknown challenges that lay ahead. As the Bantu communities flourished and their numbers grew, they began to push beyond their familiar forests and rivers. Along the edges of their expanding territory lived ancient hunter-gatherer tribes, whose ways had remained unchanged for centuries. At first, the two groups coexisted cautiously, sharing knowledge and sometimes trading goods like food, tools, and stories. But the fragile peace soon began to crack. The Bantus' growing farms demanded more land, encroaching on hunting grounds and sacred forests cherished by the hunter-gatherers. Tensions rose as competition for resources became fiercer. Old friendships fractured, and mistrust crept in like a shadow. Whispers of betrayal spread, tales of stolen game, destroyed crops, and broken promises. Small skirmishes erupted, igniting bitter rivalries. Some hunter-gatherer bands resisted fiercely, determined to defend their ancestral lands, while others chose uneasy alliances or fled deeper into the wilderness. This first great rift marked a turning point. The Bantu were no longer simply neighbors or trading partners. They had become rivals locked in a struggle for survival and dominance. The stage was set for a relentless push forward, a march that would change the landscape of Africa forever. As the Bantu migration gained momentum, their expansion sparked fear among rival tribes who saw their lands and way of life threatened. But these rivals knew they could not match the Bantus' iron tools and growing numbers in open battle. Instead, a secret war unfolded in the shadows. A war of sabotage, deception, and whispered threats. In the dead of night, fires mysteriously broke out in Bantu villages. Crops were poisoned. Hidden traps were laid along vital paths. Trusted scouts vanished without a trace, and vital supplies disappeared, slowing the migrants' progress. The Bantu leaders grew wary, sensing enemies lurking unseen, willing to strike when least expected. But the Bantu were not easily defeated. Their intelligence networks grew, and new strategies emerged. They adapted quickly, setting guards, moving camps swiftly, and turning ambushes into opportunities. Each setback became a lesson, each betrayal fueling their determination. This silent war tested more than strength. It tested trust, unity, and resilience. The Bantu learned that survival demanded not only iron and farming skill, but cunning and unbreakable will. And so, beneath the quiet forests and rolling plains, an invisible battle raged, one that would decide the fate of a continent. Deep beneath the soil along the Bantu migration routes lie whispers of a vanished kingdom, an ancient civilization swallowed by time and shadow. Archaeologists digging in remote ruins uncover artifacts unlike any other, intricately crafted pottery, strange symbols carved into stone, and remnants of buildings that hint at a once thriving metropolis. Who were these people, and what led to their sudden disappearance? Some suggest they were an advanced society that held secrets of knowledge and power, knowledge that rivaled or even surpassed what the migrating Bantu possessed. Others whisper of a catastrophic conflict, where the rising tide of the Bantu crushed all opposition without mercy. Buried in these ruins are stories etched in clay tablets and faded murals, stories of kings and queens, betrayal and sacrifice, alliances forged in fire, and battles fought with iron and sorcery. Yet, much remains undeciphered, hidden beneath layers of earth and time. These lost echoes remind us that history is not just written by the victors, but also by those who vanished, their secrets waiting patiently to be unearthed, forever entwined with the epic journey of the Bantu people. Amidst the chaos of migration and conflict, unexpected relationships began to weave a complex web of loyalty and betrayal. Young warriors and leaders from rival tribes found themselves drawn together by secret passions that defied long-standing feuds and ancient customs. In moonlit clearings and hidden groves, whispered meetings forged alliances that transcended bloodlines, some between Bantu and hunter-gatherer descendants, others crossing tribal boundaries entirely. These forbidden bonds kindled hope for peace, but also sparked jealousy and suspicion among those who saw such unions as acts of treason. Families were torn apart as loyalties split between love and duty. Trusted advisors questioned their leaders, and entire clans braced for the consequences of these fragile ties. In some cases, these alliances became powerful tools, shifting the balance of power and turning the tide of battles. But with passion came peril. Every secret alliance risked exposure, and every betrayal threatened to ignite new wars. In this world of shifting loyalties, love was a double-edged sword, capable of both uniting divided peoples and unraveling the very fabric of their survival. To many tribes and communities the Bantu encountered, iron was more than just metal. It was a force bordering on the supernatural. The Bantu's ability to craft sharp blades, sturdy tools, and farming implements from iron seemed like a gift from the gods, granting them unmatched power in battle and sustenance. Villagers watched in awe as blacksmiths hammered glowing metal into weapons that could cleave through shields and armor. Farmers wielded iron hoes that turned stubborn earth with ease, doubling harvests and fueling the migration's relentless push forward. But this magic bred fear and envy among rivals who clung to older stone and wooden tools. Rumors spread of secret rituals and hidden knowledge behind the Bantu's iron mastery, fueling suspicion and desperate attempts to steal or sabotage their forges. For the Bantu, iron was a symbol of progress and survival, but it also painted a target on their backs. The edge of iron was sharp not only in battle, but in politics, as envy and dread pushed their enemies toward ever more dangerous plots. In this dance of power, technology became the line between life and death, victory and defeat. A legacy that would echo through generations. As the Bantu migration surged across Africa, the great wave of people reached a critical crossroads. The vast landscape stretched before them, full of promise but also unknown dangers. It was here that the migration split into two epic journeys, one veering eastward toward the shimmering coasts and lush highlands, the other pressing southward into uncharted wilderness and rugged terrains. Each path held its own challenges. The eastern route led through thick rainforests and along mighty rivers, where strange new cultures and harsh climates tested the resolve of the travelers. The southern route plunged into vast savannas and arid lands, where survival demanded adaptability and fierce courage. The split was more than just geography. It was a divergence of cultures, languages, and destinies. Along these paths, new kingdoms would rise, different customs would evolve, and the once unified Bantu identity would begin to diversify. Yet both journeys shared one thing, the relentless spirit of a people determined to carve out new homes and futures, no matter the cost. These two trails shaped the mosaic of Africa's cultural and linguistic landscape for millennia to come. As the Bantu migration pressed onward, strange tales began to ripple through the camps and villages. Stories of ancient curses and restless spirits awakened by the upheaval of the land. Elders spoke in hushed tones of forgotten gods angered by the disturbances, while some young warriors reported eerie visions in the dead of night. These whispers grew into a growing fear that the migration itself might be cursed. Crops withered unexpectedly, herds fell ill without explanation, and unexplained illnesses haunted the people. Some blamed the wrath of ancestral spirits angered by the destruction of sacred sites and burial grounds long hidden beneath the soil. Shamans and spiritual leaders performed rituals to appease these unseen forces, but the unease persisted. The migrants faced a choice: press forward despite the growing darkness or retreat to safer lands, a decision fraught with spiritual and physical peril. This haunting presence reminded the Bantu that their journey was not only a battle against the tangible world, but also against forces older and more mysterious than any sword or plow. At the height of their power, when the Bantu peoples had carved vast territories and built thriving communities, a dark shadow fell from within. Trusted leaders, once united by a shared vision, began to harbor secret ambitions and rivalries. Whispers of conspiracy spread through the camps. Alliances shattered by greed, envy, and thirst for control. Some leaders forged hidden pacts with former enemies, exchanging power for treachery. These betrayals struck deep, unraveling years of hard-won unity. Communities were torn apart by suspicion and fear. Friendships dissolved into accusations, families divided by loyalty. The very foundation of the Bantu expansion trembled on the edge of collapse. Caught between external threats and internal treachery, the people faced their greatest crisis. Would they overcome this fracture to survive, or would their grand migration crumble into ruin? In the aftermath of turmoil and betrayal, the survivors stood at a crossroads unlike any before. The once unified Bantu peoples faced a choice: rebuild from the ashes stronger than ever or fade into obscurity, their dreams swallowed by history. Across the vast lands they had shaped, new languages flourished, cultures intertwined, and kingdoms rose from the foundation of their journey. The legacy of their migrations echoed in every village, every song, every tradition carried forward by descendants. Yet shadows lingered, memories of loss, sacrifice, and the heavy cost of conquest. The true test was not just survival, but the endurance of identity and spirit through generations. As the sun set on this epic chapter, the story of the Bantu migrations became more than history. It became the heartbeat of Africa itself, a testament to resilience, transformation, and the unyielding human will to forge a destiny.